Good morning and welcome to the July 22nd, 2026 regular meeting of the Town of Bethlehem Industrial Development Agency. We are here in Bethlehem Town Hall at 445 Delaware Avenue. These meetings are not just recorded, but they are fully open to the public. And we encourage everyone who is listening and watching now, please come and see us in person sometime. There's plenty of room in the conference room, and it's really wonderful to have that engagement. So the first order of business is call to order, roll call. I'll start and then go clockwise around the table to my left for our members and guests. My name is Victoria Storrs. I'm the chair of the agency.
Alexis Carlin, associate at Hedgeman Law Firm.
Catherine Hedgeman, executive director and agency counsel.
Chris Welch, vice chair. Joaquin Hope, member.
Victor Franco, board member.
Leanne Connor, staff at UID.
Good morning, John McPhillips. I'm a guest from the Bethlehem Central School District.
Ted DeBarbieri, member and secretary.
Georgette Stephens Altamari, board member.
Thank you all. We are 6 out of a potential 7, but 6 out of a total sitting members. So this constitutes a quorum and we can open the meeting. I do want to take a moment to say that one of our longtime members, Richard Cotlow, recently resigned after, I think, more than 10 years of service. And I have worked over 14 plus years on this agency with so many wonderful people, even people here for a brief period of time. Everyone has come to the table at this agency with so much to offer the community. Dick, through his tenure and his deep commitment, brought something special to this agency because he helped us move from a quieter and entirely consensus-driven, which was what we needed at the time, agency, but his willingness to ask questions, to raise issues, to engage in robust discussion really helped us move toward a more conversational and analytical agency that we are right now. And it's very hard to see him go, but he really did leave us with a special legacy of getting deep into things, and I will always remember that. So the second order of business is to approve the minutes from the May 13th regular meeting. We didn't have a regular meeting in June, so May 13th was the last one. Are there any discussion, updates, amendments to the minutes? I'll accept a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of adopting the minutes?
Aye.
Any abstaining or opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. The next item of business is the financial report. This is typically given by either our CFO or by our treasurer, and Dick Cotlow had been the treasurer, so neither of our usual players are here, and Kate and I didn't have a chance to ask who ought to be giving that financial report when we spoke yesterday.
Motion table.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor of tabling the financial report?
Aye.
Thank you. That's helpful. It's very little changed.
Right, if there's nothing start.
I just note we have a finance committee meeting following this meeting.
Yes.
For those who are on the committee and those who are interested in joining.
Yeah, thank you. All members, of course, may come, not necessarily vote, but the finance committee is also open to the public. So item number 4, executive director report. I'll turn that over to you, Kate.
Yes, thank you. So Victor, Alexis, and I went to the IBA Academy this past week, and it was really good. I normally, when you've gone year after year after, it's and it's not necessarily designed for lawyers too. A lot of times it's more the executive director function. But there was a construction panel, and it was just, they talked about housing projects and the but-for and some of the criteria you would need for a housing project, and how things are changing because the state's overall goal is to build more housing. So that was good. But they also talked about the anatomy of the finance of the deal a little bit from from the developer's perspective. Do you remember? It's a big time developer, and it's escaping me. It was
I didn't
it
bring
was
those
BBL. It was BBL. I couldn't remember, um, but they really showed, they put up a slide about the finances, and there was a panel with Camoin on it, associates and a consultant from Camoin. And she talked about how, with the cost benefit analysis that they can get to the but for a housing project. And it was really, really timely. And then they gave a Paris training, which I'm glad we have ours. That's all I'll say. And then there was some other, topics on energy that were a little wetlands. What did they say? There was nothing much to say on that one, right? Because I left.
So the presentation was 10 minutes,
Oh, good.
and then the questions were like 2 minutes.
Okay,
And then he let everybody go.
Because nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the topics were much more timely, I think, and it was definitely worth going.
Great to hear.
So that was good, and
And it was nice that it was right in our backyard. So.
Yes, yeah. And the gentleman from the sales rep from Civic Serve was there, so he was sitting right with us, and we talked about that for a while, and so it was good. The other thing I just wanted to mention is right now the intent is not to have an August meeting. So, but I will tell you September might be jam packed. So if you can just, make sure you've got the second Wednesday in September on your calendar, and because we really do need a quorum. Just wanted to go over the market study RFP process. Which went extremely well. It was one of the first really major RFPs that we've issued, and taken through the process. We had, I think, seven proposals, something like that. All very thoughtful. Others were more suited for us than some others, but we were able to interview the candidates. We were able to check references. And that's why we're in the position to award the contract later in the meeting. But I think Georgette too can chime in, and Chris, about the quality of the proposals that we did get, the people we talked to, and it seems like this is going to be pretty exciting for us. I was excited about it, and lawyers don't get very excited about anything, so. I was excited about it. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, no, I think we were really fortunate to have some good quality proposals, and MIG just sort of eked out, like, rising to the top there. And I had a chance to call the references, and everyone was like, they were great. We've already moved. They're doing another project for us. I had recommended them for another state agency, right? Like, so they have now done multiple projects with them because the team has been so good. And so it was the same team that they're proposing. I think their team was the strongest out of all the ones that we had interviewed as well. And the other comment that was made when I called the references was that they very quickly understand your sense of place. That, like, after coming and spending like 2 days here, they really quickly get to understand who the city or town is, and even from, right, like New York, they were doing some Midwest town, and they're like, it felt like they had lived here, for 2 years, and really understood the sense of place. So I think we're going to be really. Shakeen and I have worked with them in Albany, and they were fantastic. Really impressed with them, their creativity, how smart they were. Like, it was just great.
One of the things that I thought was really important is one of the principals on the RFP started his career at an IBA in New York City. So he gets the whole, and he was kind of smiling a little bit because we talked to him a little bit about everything we want to do. And, he was just like, wow, because he knows the area and, traditional roles of IDAs and, we're pushing it a little bit. We're not being real crazy, but we're hoping to do some great things for the town. So that was, for me, he immediately got it. So we'll propose a resolution to award the contract a little later in the meeting. I did prepare and send out letters to the unsuccessful applicants, letting them know they were not, but we hope to, they continue to have an interest in the IDA and so on and so forth. The web RFP, wow. There's over 10, like what, almost 20?
There are 31
Whoa, okay.
applications.
I haven't even had a chance to like even really, hone them down. They're all in Bellisboard, right? So they're there. That's kind of be like the Dropbox, the next project. We did put on the website that we pushed all the deadlines for the web RFP back by 30 days. It's strange to me, maybe it's just me, but the number of inquiries about, did you get my proposal? When's the decision? Did you make a decision? And I'm reminding people it's a public bidding process. Like, I think I'm going to put on the website also, this is a public bidding process. You're not supposed to have contact with anyone, especially after the submission, just to remind people about that. So it has gone down since I posted on the website about pushing it out 30 days because it's going to take a while to legitimately look at those. And some of them, they really are web companies that, are trying to do branding. And I think we have to really be careful, taking a look at that specific capability because it may not be what we think it is. That was my initial impression, but so we will get to that. I think that's it. The marketing committee has been really busy. I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about the RFP, but also.
I've been.
Well, okay.
Not
all right.
very much.
Not very much. Okay. So we're going to talk about some other things as well going forward at the finance committee meeting. But we are moving forward with quotes on equipment for this room that will help us have better presentation, for developers who come in and present to us or whatever the case may be. So we're trying to move that forward and see, if we can get that installed, maybe hopefully by year end. We just need to talk about the expense and make a recommendation on that. I think that's it. I don't know if you're.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple things to add for my report. So I did get 2 quotes on audio visual equipment, and so I think both the finance committee and or the marketing committee are going to review those and figure out where they fit in the budget and how to move forward. If they were similar, and this room is pretty straightforward to outfit. So. I've been working with Civic Serve on implementation of the new software, and that's been going really well. They're very responsive. They're mostly waiting on me, and I'm mostly waiting on data from our GIS coordinator because we're trying to get just a really clean spreadsheet that pulls from a lot of different things that we have in the town for our business data and parcel data. So once the system is populated, I can show and tell a little bit so you guys can see how it works and how we can use it. I've also built out both of my grant programs in there, the Micro Enterprise Grant and the BEST Grant. So they now have, moving forward, there will be electronic application capabilities for both of those grants, as well as like project review and stuff like that. So that's really, really helpful on my end and should make things pretty straightforward for applicants, which is really nice. Then I wanted to give an update on the zoning for this group.
That was on my list to ask you.
Yes, the town board has decided to pause on discussing the zoning in the town board meeting for the duration of the summer and bringing it back to the town board in September. There were a couple of reasons for that. I think primarily the public engagement, the strong public engagement, particularly from Glenmont on their particular residential zone and what that involves. So they're kind of just really pulling back and rethinking that part of town and what the appropriate zoning should be there moving forward. And then the other thing was just the change in seeker and how that impacted how different things that need to be updated within our municipal code that we can't rely on seeker anymore. And how far does the town want to go, and what authority do they want to have to request certain things or require certain things? So that's also being discussed, and it's complex. So just trying to hash it out in a town board meeting has been really challenging and gives people the right information, but not always the full context. And so the board really wanted a cleaner zoning update. This is now what we're recommending and why, to let people look at and review before they open up discussion again. Instead of sort of piecemeal changing it every meeting, it felt like this moving target and was really fueling some of the sort of oppositional discord about it. So it's on pause for the summer. It will come back in September. So by the end of the year is probably what we're looking at for having a new zoning code in Bethlehem. Any questions on that?
I do have one. The rezoning for the entire town has been underway for some time. And since we're project oriented and we want to hear from people who are building facilities and making investments in the town, do you have any perspective on whether the additional several months to get through this are going to delay projects? Any thoughts about?
It has absolutely delayed projects, multiple projects. People interested in doing something in Bethlehem have lost a full building year.
Thank you.
We lost the whole season, right?
Yeah.
Well, technically lost means two,
Two
Yeah.
2 years, really.
because it takes a year to plan.
Yeah.
No one's gonna lay out cash if there's no confirmed zoning.
Right.
After talking to Rob about some of this last week, the naysayers are always the loudest, right? And I'm still contemplating in my own head, does it warrant, a letter of support from us to that very point about projects? We probably would wait until it's revised or what have you, but we talked for a good 40 minutes sort of on this more academic, hierarchical thing, but a lot of times people make decisions here in real time, but is that really the future of the town in 20 to 30 years, right? And a lot of different things about our price point and coming into the community, I gotta be careful, but when you don't approve certain projects, mostly around housing and whatnot, you're intentionally sort of keeping people out.
Yeah.
And what does that mean and what does that look like? And I think zoning can be very effective to say, we do want that, but maybe it's better here or there or whatever the case may be, depending upon the comp plan and all of that. But I think traditionally IDAs, some stay silent, some just generally support development in the town period to the extent town wants it. But, I think there's a role or some sort of maybe letter after we've reviewed the final of support or something. Because I looked at the records of the town board and there's no, it's all no, 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 no. And I don't believe that that's an accurate representation of what,
Especially the last two meetings, maybe 3 meetings ago, there were, maybe 20% of the comments were supportive in some way. But yeah, it's been pretty negative feedback, but almost exclusively from one decision, from one zoning recommendation for one area of town.
And I think the difficult thing, talk about the anatomy of financing. There's so many um, constraints that are happening right now. The cost of construction is 325, 375 a square foot. So to build an 1,000 square foot apartment is going to cost nearly $400,000. Most real estate deals, they're financed on 15, 20-year mortgages. So it's not like a 30-year mortgage that you get to pay down, right? And so that directly correlates to rent and taxes. And so the longer you wait to develop in your community, especially if you don't want low-income housing, you don't want all these incentive-based housing, it just increases the cost for a developer to come in. And and then you take in topography, you take in the land costs, you take in all the stuff that needs to go into it. You're talking $400,000 to $500,000 for an apartment, and you start talking about a townhouse. You start talking about single-family homes. I mean, you're eating your own tail.
yeah.
And once that activity starts to happen, you also have banks who are getting more conservative on what they're going to lend to. So instead of maybe 60% or 70% of the cost of construction, they're saying you got to put more money in. We'll do 50, 60%. So now you got to come to the table with even more capital. Just like people are like, why am I going to invest in a place and they're giving me trouble?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to go elsewhere.
The one thing that struck me about the IDA Academy this time, and then the last meeting in February that we all went to, that one, they were talking about housing, right? New York's pushing housing. And they talked about seeker, they talked, what they didn't say, and which I think is one of the most important things, and when I left the IDA Academy last week, most likely, at some point here, we'll see a housing proposal, right? Other IDAs, especially the city of Albany, there's a ton of them, right? They've been working on that for a while. If you look at our 10 and 12-year pilot schedule that we have, any housing that's multiple units is going to be beyond that 12 years. They're going to request that because this financing runs, right? So in no way am I suggesting that we change policy or anything without looking at it, but I think we have to review the UTEP, review, if we were to get some sort of project that is going to request a longer, even if he's saying started at 15, 20 years, right? And that I think was much more leeway with that to bring it back down to where we wanted it. But, the other IDAs as well, most of them, it's a 10 and 12, I know Cohoes is, and, Albany might have a longer term for a housing project. I would suspect that they do. So what they didn't say was, how does this affect us reviewing applications, what we're willing to give? And, I don't love building an airplane while I'm flying it, although I've become very good at it. That if we're going to leave it to just simply a deviation, then that's fine too. But I think the terms, because construction now is so expensive, you could even see a more industrial commercial saying, I need 15 years or I need 20. And, I think historically, if you went with folks outside this room, they'd be like, absolutely not, right? But we have a duty to consider at least and run a process. Whether we're going to say yes or no is, but none of that really was, discussed. And a lot of members of the Economic Development Council are IDAs, right? Like they didn't really go into that. It was, Secret's out the door, isn't that wonderful? Well, sure, but that's a planning issue. That's not our lane. You know what I mean? And then I had the second piece to this. This is what keeps me up at night. If Secret is, especially under 100 units, right? We usually adopt the Secret findings of the planning board.
Right.
So,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So you really, and I don't mean you, Brianne, but
Yeah.
planning decides and the planning board what they're going to look at. What if we get it and we're like, I don't think they looked at it enough or, too much or whatever that is.
Which
You
is
know.
the IDA for Bethlehem, that probably won't be our problem, but
Right.
other IDAs
Oh, yeah.
certainly.
Oh, we're going to overkill it, no doubt.
Because it's gonna be hard though, because then, again, you have people who wanna do projects comparing communities, and this is gonna be a difficult community to get a project through.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna put things in the code to reflect what Secret used to do, so there's pros and cons to those decisions, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't even, when you said that this morning, and this is another can of worms, but I don't know that you can override that because it's not required. So even if you did it by local law, somebody could sue. I don't know if you would win because state law really,
Whether there's preemption between what the state said and what the local can do.
maybe. I don't know. But that being said, I'm certainly, you got to look at something. You can't just, we're not type, type 2 or whatever.
Mhm.
Goodbye. But yeah, like none of that has been discussed on a more global thought process. So, just something, I guess, to think about. And it does affect us, no doubt.
Although I think, as I understand it, the loosening of the seeker is specific to the site. If there has been something on the site.
Yeah.
That versus, a greenfield conversion of a farm field or a woodland into, say, a 50-unit housing unit or even a commercial, warehouse.
It really is incentivizing
Infill.
Yeah.
And I think that's helpful for us, for this town, because we do value our green space and anything that's going to encourage revitalization of some of the empty buildings, some of the commercial corridors that are a little bit like broken teeth. And hopefully, that change will have some positives as well as trying to work through it.
Yeah.
But I happen to work with a client downstate. It's an IDA, and their village they used a form-based code for zoning. They looked at what's there and then rezoned. And then after that was done, the IDA, and I helped them with this, revised their UTAX, Uniform Tax Exemption policy, to help marry what the village had voted for in terms of we want this here, but not here. And they updated their policies to say, okay, therefore, more dense multifamily is going to go here where the village wants it, and we're going to give them a little bit more of a pilot than if they were over here, which is not a priority for redevelopment. And it's been very successful. So that's something that I think that we would look at and try to use the way we make decisions to continue to implement what the town is asking to do.
And that just goes back to my point of the interconnectivity of all the boards in town,
Yes.
Especially our board in planning, because we have to adopt, we don't have to, but it's very rare that an IDA is a lead agency unless it's, it's our project per se. And that we would conduct our own SECRA for that. But at least this IDA would be rare. But, I always say, I want to catch a couple planning board meetings, so I think I'm going to try and do that. Because I think it's helpful, even as projects come into town, to know about them. And, I had talked to somebody the other day and they didn't even think about sales or mortgage tax, potential help for that, much less a pilot. So.
And if I could just
Sure.
add some inside baseball technical details to that thought of the length of time. Um, I do think um, because the constraints of the financing and the cost of construction, um, somewhere else has to be loosened up. And I think, for most, at least how I look at it, people have to balance out the depreciation schedule with their mortgage and financing schedule, which typically, again, a permanent loan, if you're doing workforce affordable housing, you can get a HUD loan that can give you a longer term runway with a lower debt service coverage ratio so that you can, create a buffer. But in a town like this, where you're doing market rate or beyond, you don't have that flexibility. So you're stuck into a traditional mortgage model where, you're either refinancing every 5 to 10, 15 years. Maybe you get a 20-year loan. And so the depreciation schedule straight line it's 25 years, 23 years, right? And so if you have a 15-year mortgage or a 20-year mortgage and your depreciation is 23, you're balancing the cost of the development with those two things. And so the property tax piece is so crucial because if it's almost like, you know, um, airplane companies, like, they buy gas for 20 years. They fix that cost, right? And they just want to have predictable costs there. And if you have a good developer, ideally they don't sell their property at the end of the pilot schedule. They'll come back and redo the property over so that
Right.
they can reinvest in the property and then come get another pilot. That's what you really want.
And that's what they said at the conference on the construction panel is the additional economic benefit
Correct.
is the creating the jobs to maintain it,
Correct.
to, rehab, whatever you need to do. But the flip side to this, and this is what keeps me up at night, is the, uh, 15 years from now, the school district, let's say, town, even for services, the cost is here,
Mhm.
but we're stuck still here,
Mhm.
right, into a longer pilot. So I think what that does is, one, it makes our lives extremely difficult going forward to make really thoughtful, collaborative decisions. And that if it's a pilot with something like that, case by case, is this something we really need to do?
Yeah.
Versus, oh, it'd be nice to have XYZ and the school district, at year 15, you're getting, half of what you would, we can't do that either, right? So I think it becomes what are the projects? And I don't know, do we have to decide what those projects are ahead of time in policy, or do we take it case by case? But these are all the things I'm like, the legislative landscape, the development landscape is changing. And so what does that mean? And we could take we could take the Gilderlin approach, as you call it, which is no pilots, but I don't think that that's helpful either.
Well, and I'll just say to the school district one, that is going to happen. Like that's fixed too, right? Like cost to run education is going to be fixed. It's just always going to go. But right now, Bethlehem is dealing with there's no investment, right? So
There's no kids, there's less kids.
there's no kids and there's also no investment into lands, right? So if you take a piece of land and say, okay, we're going to get a discount on the taxes with this improved assessed value. So if we improve the assessed value 2,000% and we fix the taxes for 15 years, it's still 2,000.
It's still better.
Right.
It's still an improvement.
It's still the improvement. And so
But
effectively,
is it better?
But effectively right now, you don't have any cash flow
I
from
mean, the
that.
schools, their population is going down, but they still can provide that X level
Right.
of services. So the argument would be the town is having to provide additional services. The school district isn't necessarily, because, they just redistrict because there aren't enough kids. And the population is going down. So I don't know that.
They're rebalancing too.
Right.
My understanding, yeah. I don't know that
Well, the overall population of the school district, if you look at the Capital District Regional Planning Commission's report, it's relatively flat. It's roughly a 20% decrease from 2004, 2005.
It's a population, right, issue too?
Yes, so,
yeah.
and it's all tied to housing a little bit as well, right? And mortgage rates, and folks don't want to give up their, 3.5% mortgage rate to walk into a 7% mortgage rate. So a lot of individuals that would maybe consider selling their houses in, old or new Belmar are not, because they can't necessarily afford the next place they're moving to. You have a lot of retirees or families that no longer have kids in the district, and it's a stopgap from folks coming in.
And they don't have anywhere to go.
Right.
If you own your house and you sell it for market
Yeah.
and want to buy
Where do
into
you
a
go?
senior townhome community,
You're already behind
You're already behind.
somehow, even though
yeah,
you sold your house for 400% more than when
Yeah.
you bought it 20 years
Yeah.
ago, right? Like it's
yeah, or even the, anecdotally, because I think we all see this in our neighborhoods. Smaller houses in my neighborhood, the 3-bedroom, are being purchased by retirees who are downsizing from a 4-bedroom from somewhere in the region, and it's smaller and it's manageable and it's all one floor and it's great for them. But we're walking distance to an elementary school, and it's always been my hope that when the neighborhood shifts, that the families can come in, because that's the growth in the workforce and puppies and children make for a nice neighborhood. But I know that's personal opinion is leaking in there, but a vibrant community has strong demographics across all of it.
That's why I think the market study too is going to have some very interesting data for us as to habits and different things. Ted, did you want to say something? I wasn't sure, Ted.
Yeah, no, I'm spending a lot of time listening, and it's a really useful conversation. My thought is, to what extent does our marketing committee or does this board convince or at least express an opinion to the NIMBY folks in Glenmont that look, what we build is going to look like the gables over there in many cases across the street, which is some of the most expensive real estate in this neighborhood, and people who want to live there can't. So I don't know what role we take in terms of advocacy. I don't believe you can change people's minds who made up their minds already, but I would love to revisit that conversation going forward.
And I think the point that
With respect to zoning in particular.
I kept making during the interviews is,
Yeah.
we all walk around town and we've got our tunnel that we've been in for years. We need somebody to come in and tell us what we really are and not what we think we are. And that's a big part of it. And
That could be scary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're both transplants from the city, right? And there's so many pros to Bethlehem and so many reasons why you would move here. But then, like, okay, that's a new generation of people that are like, what if we did this? And what if we had this? And, that's what I said to Rob. You have these older folks that are still here too, and their thought process versus the newer families coming in. And, I just think a lot of times you don't hear from what I call the yay sayers for these type of things. And, maybe it depends. Like sometimes the boards will say, we just don't want to get into that. That's fine too. But I think basic support for whatever zoning is proposed, that's little risk, right? It's not real harmless or anything. Harmful, excuse me.
So much of the controversy has been around the housing and the increasing density. 3 homes on a lot that used to have 1, which, especially in an area that's already traffic, you can understand why they're asking the questions. But the commercial spaces, is anyone even talking about that, or is that simply not?
people are fine with that part of the code and what's changing there and what's being recommended there. Generally, we got a few comments on parking,
Mhm.
and that was pretty much it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
a vote, yeah, you gotta go. Alright.
I just had a couple more updates, just because they're things that have been in the news and they may be of interest to this group. One is that the tollgate property was purchased by new ownership, and they're working on improving that property. So there should be some new commercial activity happening there within the year. So it's really exciting, and the community is pretty excited about that. It wouldn't be a project for this group, but just knowing what's going on is nice. Another thing that you may have seen in the news that might be of interest to this group as well is the headline about that connects Plug Power with data centers. And just wanted to be really clear that the land that Plug Power, as a organization that is in many different states and countries, is selling to a data center company is not any of the land that they have here in Bethlehem. So just wanted to be really clear about the details of that.
Thank you.
There is, not related to that news article, but closer to Plug, there is an RFP battery storage facility that has been National Grid put out an RFP. And the recommended location for that is in Vista on the New Scotland side. So you may see something about that. That is not a data center, and that is not driven by Plug. And I can send this group some more information on that project so you can be more informed on that.
Has the town taken a stance on battery storage?
At the moment, the town does not have battery storage as an approved use in our code, but there is a recommendation to include that the town board is considering, but it has not been in the proposed. So at the moment, battery storage is not something that can be cited within that.
Wow.
Is that not what under a res city office of renewable energy siting? It's 25 megawatts and above. They take it.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if battery storage.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I will send this group some more information on that project, as you may hear about that or have questions about that or want to
Thank
know
you.
about that. So yeah, that's what I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you for the good discussion. I understand that you have a deadline. Kate, what is the most important thing to accomplish before Jean has to leave?
We should just take a vote on the next two items, the Burt Crane and the award to MIG.
Okay. I will, let's start with MIG because we did have some discussion about that.
Okay.
So the actual proposal, I urge everyone to read it. It's on Bellasport if you have trouble accessing it.
It's also on the website.
And
too.
it's, yeah. So what, we have a resolution in our packet to award that contract. Kate, do you want to have a outline the resolution and then we'll take a vote?
Sure. So this, because we wanted to get moving on the timeline that we wanted to, this resolution is to award the project to MIG. We still have to come to terms on a contract, an actual contract to sign with them, and we have a meeting set up to discuss those terms. Yes. So what I was asking today is that you make the award, and then the final contract will come back to you, and it'll be contingent upon the meeting in September, most likely. We'll have it done by then. So this is really just to award the project in order to let us move forward with negotiation of the terms.
Any questions about what we're being asked to do this morning?
Just with respect to the budget, we're finance committee is going to looking at budget.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just remind me, and this is my own ignorance or forgetfulness, that had we budgeted for this expense previously, and just if I believe we had, I just forget.
In part we did, yes.
Yeah, there is some budget for it. I think it came in higher than we thought, but based upon the current budget and finance, I think we were gonna reallocate and put the additional funds into that column, for lack of a
Mhm.
better.
Yeah, yeah, because we've been growing the economic development line item of the budget for a couple of years. The CPL project didn't absorb as much as we thought it would. So that's, the dollars aren't necessarily exact, but it's a good question, and yes, that's been in the budget.
You wanna move?
Make a motion.
You have to just second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of awarding the project to MIG, they've got a longer name. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstaining or saying nay? Okay. The motion to award this to MIG passes unanimously among the six current members of the board. Thank you. So the next order to vote is the request from Bert Crane down on River Road. Bert Crane is an existing project. I think most of you weren't on the board when the IDA approved that, but you're familiar with the project because there were some adjustments that needed to be made, mostly resulting from the fact that construction was significantly delayed by some bats, which is oddly enough a fairly common problem in New York. I believe that Micron's dreams in the Syracuse area are running into bats as well. So Bert Crane has come back because they had always envisioned more development on the parcel, and Kate is the one who knows the details.
Sure. So what they actually did, and I don't know that they realized it until we brought it to their attention, is they subdivided the current parcel with the pilot on it. And when you do that, technically you become in violation of the terms of the pilot, because now there's two tax parcels. So what they're asking for, and what I suggested really, is we're going to amend the current title documents, or excuse me, pilot documents, so that the pilot is really for the original parcel, and the subdivided parcel will be separate, and the pilot will not apply to that. What I suspect and what was discussed is that at some point when they go to develop on the new parcel, they will come back and ask for a pilot for that project. Not a guarantee that they will or need it, but that was out there. So what you're going to see after this would be, and I had them write the letter to make the request, is we'll have to amend the current pilot agreement, and that will come back to you when we're ready to do that. But this is really just to allow the amendment to the current pilot.
So we will, if this is approved, be taking a look at how the pilot payments might change because of the subdivision. We don't have those numbers yet, but certainly we will take a look at. But it's important to correct this and hopefully to set them up for development of that other parcel, commercial down near the thruway. Certainly a target for commercial industrial.
Great location.
Are we requesting a fee to do this work for them?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. No, it's in our fee policy, but yeah.
Any other questions?
Need a motion.
I'll take a motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of moving forward toward amending the pilot?
Aye.
Any abstaining or nay?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. We have 5 yes, 1 abstention out of so the motion passes.
So I have to leave
And we
early.
will excuse you for
Yes.
plan.
We made it through your business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go build something.
Yeah.
Let's try.
I'm working on
Something
that.
expensive.
I hear my knee pop, but I'm
No, I have to get my dog to move.
not.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Okay, the next item of business is adjournment, unless something has
So
come up.
Just real quick on
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
just on
exactly.
governance.
Yep.
So for the governance committee, 5 out of 6 members renewed. So thank you to everybody who renewed. We are a vast majority of us are now on the same renewal track. There is still one member outstanding that I'm working on. Kate talked about the IDA Academy in terms of getting trained there. But we also on June 10th did our board internal training, which was provided by the Hedgeman law firm and very helpful. Because of Dick's departure, now we have a committee vacancy. So we only have 2 people on our committee. And because of all the work that we're doing in terms of, the financial assistance procedures, the fee schedule, and the UTEP and everything like that, we really need like a 3rd person. So that's something to consider. Our next committee meeting is on Thursday, September 3rd at 8:30 a.m. And that's it. Thank you.
We've handled committee appointments in a variety of ways over the years. Often someone volunteers because they have the capacity or the interest, and sometimes they are voluntold.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Also, especially when we're down to 6 members, and we were at 4 5 years ago, which was a little hair raising. We typically have members serving on more than one committee. And when that occurs, because it's so common, we ask that you try to have a blend of a very active committee, and the 2 most active right now are governance and marketing. Finance will be more so over time as we're looking at more projects. But I think finance and audit are a little bit quieter at the moment. So if people are thinking about the committees, typically we also vote to appoint someone to a committee, but our next meeting in September, how much of a problem is that for
It's
you?
not a problem as long as, my cohort appears and,
Okay.
yeah.
Who's currently on governance?
Victor and John. Yeah.
What
So
we,
the hope is that if Eric ends up joining, he would be treasurer, or is that?
I don't think we can throw that at him right away, but he would be probably on the
On the
finance
committee.
committee. Yeah.
So you, ideally, whoever's coming in would be on the finance committee, so you really need to fill the governance one.
so we can do a couple of things. It's thank you for the reassurance. We could also,
I'm happy to serve on that.
Oh,
Someone's gotta do it.
I mean, we can always have more than 3. It's just.
Yeah, and even if it's only just a temporary thing. it's
Yeah,
all-
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can do the governance.
like us to vote it maybe through the end of the year before we pick up audit and then renew.
Yeah, sure.
So then I would
Yeah.
propose a motion to appoint Georgette to governance through the end of the year. And then see where we are so that we've got that coverage for your work in September. Do you want 2 people? Do we have more interest in joining this
I
important
just
committee?
need one, more the merrier,
When is
but
your
I'm
next
happy with
meeting?
one.
When is the next meeting? you said?
September, Thursday, September 3rd at 8:30. And then what I'll do is I'll send stuff in advance
that
of
sounds
that
great.
meeting, well in advance of the meeting. So that it's, because those meetings are always working meetings.
I'm interested in considering and with, so want to explore the possibility.
Okay. Well, then you can put that on your calendar because as, I say in every meeting, all of our committee meetings are open to all members.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to
I mean, we're
figure out what
working
they're doing and
through
see how it works.
all the policies, so there's a lot of work,
No,
so
I would love
more
to do it.
people-
I can't say yes without other issues like scheduling and just that particular time at that particular day is a
Yeah,
challenge.
so I think on paper, we can appoint Georgette, and then when you're available and you make it, by all means, and I'll include you on all the emails I send out.
Yeah, great.
That'd be great. Because then even if you had feedback, you could email it to us.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, you don't even have to be at the meeting, you can just email feedback.
Watch it on video. Okay, so I'll accept a motion to appoint Georgette
So moved.
through the end of the year with potential to renew.
Yeah.
Okay, second, all in favor of the appointment of Georgette to Governance Committee? Aye. Any abstaining or opposed? Okay, 5 members present, 5 approving, resolution passes, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
Thank
Very
you,
excited.
thank you so much.
Your salary just doubled.
Woo-hoo. Before we adjourn, Victor and I had one more very serious thing we want to discuss. You know what
I don't
it
want to
is?
steal your thunder.
Don't.
Go ahead.
So,
So it's
You
a
do.
tag team.
you-
It's a tag team. When we're at the IDA Academy, couldn't help but notice that other IDAs had very fine apparel. You know, that with their
the
signias and
Advanced
their
Albany
We've
embroidery,
been
County
pushing this
Alliance.
for a while.
you know, so on and so forth.
We need our new
So-
logo first.
You want swag?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want-
So I was like, you know, Bethlehem IDA should also have similar apparel and identification.
Especially when the whole
I
board
agree.
shows up to a conference and we're like,
Uh-huh.
you know, you guys think you could show up to something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like- But so Victor picked out 2, one zip up thing and a polo shirt for men, and we'll work on picking out something for females. But you know, apparel. We also thought about, you know,
Mhm.
but he's right. You'd be surprised. A lot of them come out
Right.
with,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
So that's, I know it's serious
I
business,
mean,
but
It's better than a
those can be
business card.
cold, so
Yes.
you
Can
know,
wear them around town.
That's
too.
true.
Yeah.
that's
Show 'em
true.
where.
Yeah.
That's-
Right.
Yeah, like limit hours.
Wow.
so
Can we
we
have vests with merit badges?
There we go.
Or a
There we go,
sash?
sash.
A sash
Right.
with merit
Victoria
badges.
says
Every project.
37 years of guard service to the
A pin every.
Yes,
right.
Yep.
It's like the Girl Scouts or the
or
Boy
a
Scouts.
pocket hanger.
Yeah.
Like they have in the Boy Scouts.
But I
Someone at
thought-
the Denver airport who'd been to film.
That was just an awesome idea. When I was on the state commission for volunteer community service, we had like a fleece, you know, for that, and
Oh, boy.
that was cool. So I know Ja would be all over that because he
Yeah.
likes the,
He does.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he might even do a hope development with the BIDA on the sleeve.
Well, you know, I was just thinking that because it is a good idea. I like, as people get
Right.
more involved, it's pretty wonderful. Because I've become friends with some of the staff at EDC saying, look at all the members who are participating. And, you know, that's terrific. Jean and I both wear a couple of hats when we go to these things.
Mhm.
And I'm not doing this
Right.
day in and day out, but we can figure that out.
Yeah, we thought that would be cool. So.
Yeah.
So there's a company called Albany Embroidery, and Victor and I pulled some stuff out, so I can send the link around. And you know, it doesn't have to be apparel. If you rather have a mug or something, we can, you know. But you know, it's not expensive or anything. But I think you know,
I want the
And
merit
have our
badge.
uniform when we're on our meetings. We can all be wearing the same.
God.
Get
Great.
a star for every year,
No
for every
comment.
project. Committee assignments on the,
well, on the back
the
it should
marketing
say,
patrol.
yeah, on the back it should say, yes, we're difficult, but our town is awesome.
Worth the headache.
That's right.
Oh, no, so we need little logo, like tins of Advil.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Yes, let's get some information.
Sponsored by Valero. Because we need more gas.
Oh,
Anyway,
heavens.
all right.
I
That
like
was-
the gas station, it's Sinclair, it's out west,
Oh, yeah.
and they've got
Dinosaurs.
the dinosaur.
The
I am
dinosaur.
totally in love with the dinosaur. And they sometimes pair with a convenience shop whose logo is a skunk. It's called Stinkers. I'm like, we are so boring here.
Or there's Buc-ee's in Texas.
Indeed, indeed. All right.
The land of no.
Buc-ee's. Lots of beavers.
No, we won't do that. No, we won't do this.
So, okay, probably time to adjourn because
All right.
after this, we have the finance committee. Let's take like 15 or so minutes between, 15 to 20 minutes between adjourning here and then reconvening for finance. Is that going to work in the time we have the room?
We need that much time, like, we need 20 minutes.
I think so.
Okay,
Because we had to do something else in between.
copy.
Yep.
So move.
Second,
Motion there.
Okay, all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any abstaining or not wishing to adjourn? Okay, the motion to adjourn passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll close the